So, as I told you, basically there's three parts to the presentation today for the keynote. There's the kind of the company update and the strategy. We went through that. There's the introduction of the Sales Cloud 2 and the Service Cloud 2. We've gone through that. And then there's the introduction of the new product, the next cloud, if you will. You know, that's a seminal time for Dreamforce. It's a critical time for Dreamforce. It's the time right now, it's a sacred time. It's not funny. It's a sacred time when we really reveal what's next, to really look at what could possibly be next. It's a time when we as a group in a room take a door and open it and walk through it, and to really show what is possible. And in each consecutive Dreamforce, we take this key time to do that. But we need to make a little bit of a shift in the room right now. What we need is just a little bit of heat, if you will. All right, that's better. And just going to ramp it up just a little bit. You know, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 10 years, all of us here have been working on cloud computing. And it's been incredible. Incredible for me personally, incredible for everyone at salesforce.com, incredible for our customers. It's been incredible for everyone who's been able to participate, other companies, industry players. It's been a huge shift for the industry. Cloud computing has been amazing. It's been massive. I mean, we're creating a multi-hundred-billion-dollar industry, and you're at the heart of that. It's hard to even think that there could be something as big as cloud computing happening at the same time, because we've been going through it. And yet, without a doubt, without a question mark, over the last 10 years, really even over the last 20, a similar shift has been happening in computing, just as powerful, and that is social computing. The power and movement in social computing has been spectacular. It started way back when Ray Ozzie first showed me Lotus Notes. I was blown away to see that technology that he called workgroup computing. And the idea that he was going to be able to take these kind of small local area networks and companies and be able to provide a piece of software and use Lotus Notes. How many people here have used that Lotus Notes technology? And I'm sure you remember the first time that you used Lotus Notes and how you really saw the genius of Ray Ozzie, now more than 20 years ago, come up with that paradigm for collaboration in the enterprise. And others followed him, like Novell with GroupWise and other technologies. And then the next big leap that we saw in social computing was really the internet itself. When we had a website inside our companies, not a public website, but a private website where we could share files and where we could communicate. And probably one of the best examples of that was SharePoint. How many people here have used SharePoint inside their enterprise? And we start to see that we basically could access files, and we had file storage and folders, and then those turned into these kinds of portals of information. And that was kind of the next generation. And even Ray Ozzie delivered Groove and file sharing. But by far, those were eclipsed by the next generation of social computing, by the next generation of players. Not just by the online meeting players who were kind of trying to help out the enterprise go forward, like the WebExes and the Citrix and the Lotus Lives from IBM, which are all excellent technologies. But you have to stop in awe and look at the spectacular technology and the technologists who have created Facebook and Twitter. I'm sure there is not a person here in this room or in our industry who would not disagree that Facebook and Twitter stand out by themselves as phenomenons and truly breakthrough capabilities for the industry. Between them, they're soon approaching 500 million users. Incredible. 500 million users. Those are the kind of lifetime achievements that all of us would love to be able to have in the software industry. And we are in awe of that. You know, I have used Facebook and Twitter. How many of you are friends with me on my Facebook page? We have a few of them, 5,000 of my closest friends out there on my Facebook page. And you know, I do some amazing things on my Facebook page. I get on there, and I've been trying to understand the magic of Facebook and the magic of Twitter. And one of the things that I've been able to do is I get on my Facebook page, and let's say I'm getting ready to do my presentation or a new advertisement, or I'm working on something. You know, I have this tremendous community. I try to start to work with them. So I'll take an ad that I'm working on, for example, and a file, you know, and I put the file on my page, and almost right away, I'll have 10, 20, I've had up to 50, 60 comments from individuals, customers, analysts saying, I like this ad, but change this. I like this presentation, but do that. I like that positioning, and do this. I mean, the content has become alive. It's gone far beyond anything that I could possibly imagine. I mean, I'm even able to then kind of go to an application, and I'm able to kind of poll, tell me how do you like this. I'm able to pull in whether it's a polling application or some other social application on the network, and all my friends are participating in it. And again, everybody is kind of participating in this network. It's amazing. Now, I'm sure that you've probably used it for, how many of you are on Facebook? Raise your hands. Hardly anybody. Okay. I think every hand went up. How many people here on Twitter? Raise your hands. All right. Pretty good. So you know what it's like where you're using it for photos. Until you tag somebody in a photo, and all of a sudden, people out of nowhere are starting to show up and commenting on photos. Or you've been tagged in a photo. You know, I was tagged in a college photo that I would have preferred had disappeared. Marc Benioffs is in this photo, and say, yes, that is me. Birthday reminders, event planning. You know, I'm a fan of this, I'm a fan of that. You know, I use Facebook for a lot of different things, and I guess what really came to my attention was, I'm pretty productive on this thing. I'm getting a lot done for a lot of nothing. I mean, I'm really productive in my personal life. It's certainly helped me to connect with my friends. It helps me to share information with my family. But at the end of the day, that same level of productivity, if I could somehow apply it to my business, if I could take that power of Facebook that I'm doing with that content and the apps and the people and apply it to my enterprise and apply it to my business, that would be remarkable. That would be spectacular. But you know, when I get back to the office and I'm not at home on Facebook, I have this weird thing going on. Well, I have content, apps, and people, all right, but I've got content, apps, and people fully disintermediated, fully separated. I've got great content over here. I've got, like you do, your SharePoint systems and the file sharing systems and the intranets and the Lotus Notes and the WebEx and the GoToMeetings. You know, we have all of those things at salesforce.com, like you do. And all of our content management systems and enterprise content management systems. And then, like you do, we have all of our apps. We have all of our Salesforce apps and Oracle apps and SAP apps, and they're in the middle, right? And then I've got all of our people, all of our employees, and even our partners and our vendors and people we're working with, and we're all on Outlook, you know, with these streams, you know, where we become slaves to these email messages happening every day, and instant messaging. And it's this trifurcation of content, apps, and people that's happening in the company. Well, we just don't have that in Facebook, do we? where somehow they've brought it all together. Somehow they've been able to integrate it all together into this beautiful metaphor. And that when you look at Twitter, it's the same thing, that all of a sudden I have this tremendous power with Twitter to communicate, where I have these followers, where I can follow, a key industry journalist, or I can follow a key news program or a topic that I'm interested in. Or even more exciting on Twitter is I can search a whole institutional memory around a certain topic, and I can see all the history of that. But again, when I get to content, apps, and people, I just don't have it at work. I don't have that power. I don't have that power of Facebook, and I don't have that power of Twitter in the enterprise. I just don't have that. I mean, it really elicits a fundamental question. The fundamental question that we have to ask at this point is so simple. We have to ask the question, why is there not a Facebook for the enterprise? Why is there not a Facebook for the enterprise? Well, I guess I could ask it this way. Why is it that I know more about all these strangers on Facebook than I do about my own employees and my company? It's true, isn't it? It's remarkable. I know more about all these strangers on Facebook than I do about my own employees and what they're working on. I have more clarity and I understand more about what's happening in this community on Facebook because of this beautiful integration of content, apps, and people. I know when my friends have gone to the movies, but I don't know when my VP of sales went to visit my top customer. Doesn't come to me. I have to still call him, or I have to proactively go out to the account tab and look and see if a call has been made. I know more about when someone has gone to a movie than when my VP of sales has gone and visited a key customer or account. And I even know when I've been tagged in a photo, and I don't even know when a key document that I care about is updated. So it's easier for me to see that this college photo is getting enhanced or changed or commented on, but even the slides for the presentation I'm doing tomorrow or the competitive analysis, I don't have that same type of acuity. It's amazing. Why is there not a Facebook for the enterprise? I mean, I guess the question that you need to ask yourself is, why is there not a Twitter for the enterprise? Why is there not a Twitter for the enterprise? I know more about Ashton Kutcher yesterday than I know about my top customers. A little weird. I know more about what's happening in Iran from bloggers on Twitter than I do what's happening in my software development work teams. And I can follow most anyone on Twitter by using this fantastic follower technology that they've come up with and the whole follower metaphor, and I can't even follow my key deals. I can't even follow the actions of my key executives. Something is wrong. Something is wrong because once again we've been eclipsed by the consumer. I felt that way in 1996 when I sat at my desk at Oracle and I was using Amazon.com for the first time, and I said, why can't all enterprise applications be like this? And now, when I'm sitting at Facebook and when I'm sitting at Twitter and looking at the genius of these technologies and of these metaphors, I've got to ask myself, why can't enterprise collaboration be like this? I mean, aren't we ready for a change? Aren't we ready for a change in enterprise collaboration? Aren't we ready to let go of the Lotus Notes paradigms of 25 years ago and of the SharePoint file metaphors of 15 years ago? I mean, if we've seen that these tremendous companies have shown us the future, how do we bring it into our companies? Now, over the past couple years, you've seen us do the integrations and you've seen us try to tie these things together. But it has irked us because we see that something has to change. Ladies and gentlemen, something has to change. We need a breakthrough. What we need is our biggest breakthrough ever at salesforce.com. And our biggest breakthrough ever is going to be shown to you today on this stage over the next few minutes. And we call it Salesforce Chatter. And with Salesforce Chatter, you were wondering why you got those chattering teeth, weren't you? And with Salesforce Chatter, what you're going to see is something very, very simple. With Salesforce Chatter, it's going to be the magic of Facebook and Twitter brought to your enterprise. With Salesforce Chatter, we're going to see the magic of content, apps, and people. That same magic that we already see on the consumer social networks, the real-time model, brought into the enterprise. And we're going to ask you all to do one thing. We're going to ask you to do one thing with Salesforce Chatter. We're going to ask you to join the conversation. And we're going to ask you to come into this network of content, apps, and people and to do something totally new on the level of collaboration in the enterprise. Now, normally at this point, I would do the slides. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do slides right now. What I'm going to do instead is we're going to show it to you. Because before I do the slides, I need to walk through a few key things with you. And I think it's extremely important to do that. So let's go ahead and let's do a demonstration of Salesforce Chatter. So will you please welcome, I don't know where he is. I hope he's here. He's my co-founder and head of technology. Has anybody seen him? Parker Harris. Parker Harris, co-founder, salesforce.com, head of technology. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So Parker is here. Welcome, Parker. And we are going to give you a demonstration of some of the basic elements of Salesforce Chatter. We're going to give you a basic introduction. Then I'm going to go in, we're going to give you some more detailed slides of what it is, and then we're going to give you an advanced demonstration of the technology. So first of all, Parker.
I'm not Ashton Kushner, but I'll have to do, Mark.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let's bring up the screen, Parker.
All right, let's bring up the demo.
All right. Well, now, you may have seen the new user interface that George was showing, and you have the option of turning this on. I just want to, Salesforce Chatter will also work in the old user interface, but Parker and I actually built the new user interface together, so we like it, and we're going to use it. So, here's the new salesforce.com user interface coming this spring to a Salesforce instance near you. And you can see there's a couple new things happening on the screen, right? Okay. And what you can see is we have our tabs across the top. We have some tabs, and let's not do anything yet, Parker, but zoom in so people can see the tabs. Home, profile, people, groups, accounts, contacts, content, reports, dashboards. That's great. Thank you. And you can see there's a little picture of me. We're actually in my account. You can see that, Marc Benioffs' account. And you can see I've given a little status update. Marc Benioff is launching Chatter at Dreamforce. So you've already kind of given you a little foreshadowing that all of our users, our 2 million users all over the world, are going to be able to do status updates like they can in the Facebook and Twitter world. And then we have a Salesforce homepage here. How many people here know what a Salesforce homepage is with the dashboards and the approvals and the calendar and all of that? Is everybody following me? Because I don't want to rush ahead, but this is the Salesforce homepage with the dashboards, approvals, calendar, and all my events, my tasks down below, and so forth and so on. There they are. So is everybody following that this is a Salesforce homepage? But there's something different at the top of that homepage. And do you see it? Where it says chatter? Because not only do you have all your dashboards and your events and your approvals and so forth, but right there, I can open it up and I can see a feed.
Would you like me to do that, Mark?
Do that.
All right, let's go.
What's that?
I said, would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So I can go ahead and see a feed now right on my home page of everything going on in my enterprise. And I can see I'm saying something, and George Hu just said something, and Parker said something, and then Steve said something about what Parker said something. And I mean, that's kind of you kind of would expect that, right? We have status updates. Everybody's kind of talking to each other, right? You get that? All right. And we're scrolling down now. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on, Parker. Well, I understand Marc Benioffs is saying this and Jim is saying this, but what is this Allied Technologies 35K? I mean, that looks like we have like an opportunity is talking to us.
Well, Mark, that's what's so different about what we've built here. It's not just the people in your enterprise talking to each other, which is really, really important. So I don't want to play that down. That is really key because we want to facilitate that communication. But what's also happening is the data in the service has come alive. And it's talking to you, and it's telling you things about what's happening.
You mean my apps are talking to me also?
The apps are talking to you.
Well, you're going to have to explain to me what that means. I mean, I've never heard anybody use that phrase before. My apps are talking to me, not just my people. All right. Well, we're going to have to take a look at it. And what else is going on in this feed? My apps are talking to me, and looks like my content is talking to me. Mm-hmm. And what is this SAP and this Oracle icon?
Well, it's not that I've embedded SAP and Oracle within Salesforce.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe we'll figure that out. But what's amazing about this is it's part of our platform. And as you know, we're completely open. And so things that are happening in your enterprise, even if they don't happen on Salesforce, can come into Chatter just as it would into Facebook, for example, if you're going to feed into Facebook Connect. And that event goes in, and then you know everything that's going on in your enterprise. So something happens in SAP, supply chain order has been filled, or in Oracle, and how that relates to what's happening with Salesforce.
So my enterprise apps are talking to me. Well, that's pretty exciting. We're going to have to go back and drill on that. I mean, wait a minute now. What's this PowerPoint presentation is talking to me down here too? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're going to have to go back and take a look at that. Yeah. You know, this is. Let's close that. Can you close that chatter thing up? I mean, okay. That makes me feel a lot better. This is back to the Salesforce I know and love. Okay. Now, I've got this status update going on, Parker. You know, maybe can I have a profile now at Salesforce like I do on Facebook and Twitter?
You can, Mark. Let's take you back to your comfort zone and talk a little bit more about you.
I really appreciate that, Parker. Thank you.
You know, that's what I'm here for. So as you can see, you've got a complete profile in here. And so not only do you have to read articles about Mark, but you can find even more in the company about who Mark is, what his interests are, who's interested in him. So there are all these people that happen to be interested in what is Mark doing today. Typical of this type of service.
So those are like followers. So those are other employees who want to know what
right.
I'm doing and what I'm saying. So they've subscribed to my profile.
Exactly. But imagine if it weren't you, Mark, and it was someone maybe less well-known like myself. Then you could come in here and you could actually learn something about me, which would be very valuable. Maybe I could help you.
That's a novel idea.
Maybe I could help you in the company do something with your job. Maybe I could help you close a deal or close a case, or just help a customer.
So what else will I see here in this kind of the profile capability? I see followers, I see my basic contact information, mm-hmm. I see my bio. Do you have my start date and my payroll information too?
Well, let me just add a little something here before we get to payroll, because you're jumping way ahead of me, okay?
All right,
because simply within your profile, you could be talking to this whole audience or with the people within your company to say, you know, Park and I are demoing Chatter, and it's amazing. And that's going to go out to the people in your company. But let's be clear, it's going to go out, and something that we haven't emphasized is that this is on our trusted platform. That's what's so radically different about what we're doing here, okay? The information that is flowing in your enterprise between people, between data, the data that's happening, the content, it's all based upon the sharing model and the security model that you've already set up. There's nothing new to do. It takes that information, that security, and applies it to all of the communications that are happening, which is incredibly powerful.
So how many people here use a public sharing model? And how many people here use the private sharing model? So all the sharing model changes that you've already made are actually connected to this application automatically. Very good.
That's right. And to your question earlier, Mark, yes, you're getting ahead of me. We could hook in the HR information and the compensation information, and of course, that would be securely shared as well. But, I got some work to do to get this basic stuff going. So just, maybe in a little while.
Well, this is very exciting. I've seen my home tab and the feed on the home tab. I've seen the profile. Can I see like a directory of all the people in my company?
Absolutely. So we have this people tab, and if I click on the people tab, I'm now going in and I can see all of the various people in my corporation. Who are they? If I'm interested in finding out more about them, I could click on their profile. If I'm working directly with them and I want to follow them to keep updated on, what are they doing in the sales organization, or for me, I might be following a product manager in development or in a QA manager to see what's going on in my corporation. And you can do that right within our service.
Fantastic. Well, that's very exciting, Parker. I mean, we've taken a look at basic feeds, we've taken a look at profiles, we've taken a look at the general idea of the directory. Let's go back to the Home tab for a second, would you? Now, when you were going in the Home tab there, I saw that we were looking at a specific opportunity, right?
That's right.
I can't remember what that opportunity was called. I think it's a little bit farther down on the feed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Is it Allied Technologies?
So there it is right there.
35K?
Yep.
So now, what if I want to click on that opportunity? Can I go ahead and get access to that?
Absolutely, Mark. And that's what's amazing about Chatter is it's not just that you have a feed of what's going on in your corporation looking at everything, but these data objects are talking to you. And if you want to go to a data object, you can see what is all the things that are happening on that.
Parker, I don't understand. I see another one of those Chatter icons at the top of my Opportunity tab. I've been using this Opportunity tab for years and years. Now, you're telling me that you're modifying the Opportunity tab for me? Can you explain to me what's going on with that?
All right, so Mark, what's going on is you have a global feed in your corporation, securely shared the information you're allowed to see of what's happening with the people, the content, and the applications in your corporation. But then it's also extremely useful on a specific application or a specific object. What's happening, in this case, with this opportunity? What's happening in my corporation? Not just the changes that object is telling you, but what are people saying about it? What is the content that is important on this opportunity? And what that does is it makes it easier for that salesperson to close this deal.
Well, I think that this is the seminal thing. Of course, you've seen feeds involving people, you've seen status updates, you've seen profiles, but I don't think you've ever seen this, where this metaphor now applies to the very database objects or standard objects that we use to run our business. So now, here on this opportunity is a feed. And that feed enables this opportunity, this database object, to now talk to all of its relationships as well throughout the system.
That's right. And one thing I want to point out here.
And Parker, I just want to mention, someone just mentioned to me that we're running a little bit behind, but all the breakout sessions will start at 12:15 today, or a half an hour late, so that we can finish up the keynote.
Good to know. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't leave the stage.
I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. So one thing I wanted to point out here is there's something about, in the corporation, I'm sending emails. I need some help with this deal, so I blast out an email to my company and try to figure out who would be able to help me. In this case, I don't need to do that. There are people that are seeing what's going on, and they're coming to help. But not only that, there are groups of people that are forming both formally and informally in your corporation to do things. In this case, on this opportunity, there's a group that has already been formed in our corporation to be competitive with SharePoint. Okay? And on this opportunity, this is an opportunity where we're competing. Actually, Frank Van Veenendaal is competing against SharePoint. So let me show you that, because I can go into this competitive group. And in that competitive group, I can then see all the conversations that are happening when you're competing against SharePoint, or when Salesforce is competing against SharePoint. What are all the things that are happening in my corporation? Let me click on it. Let's see.
So now what we've done is we've not only looked at profiles, we've looked at the home page, we've looked at these feeds, we're looking at feeds on opportunities or on standard or custom objects, but we can even look at competitive groups as well.
All right, hang on. We're getting stuck here, Mark. Hang on. Oh, thank you. You know, you guys, can you come up here and help me with my demo? You guys are awesome. Thank you.
So here we have a SharePoint competitive group. So these are groups of individuals now that are linked into this opportunity?
Exactly. So kind of like we looked at your profile, and you had a profile where it was about Marc Benioffs, and there are people that are following Marc Benioffs and interested in that. This is a group. And so similarly, a group has a profile. And here, this group's profile is competing against SharePoint. And there are people that are following that, they're interested in that group. Of course, it could be secure, so maybe I don't want to let everyone be in that group if it's private information. And then I can share with the people the content and the applications in this competitive group.
Well, this is very exciting. You can see how we've leveraged many of the very aspects of these kind of consumer networking systems into Salesforce, but we're doing it natively inside the system that you're already using, inside the tabs you're already using, inside the objects you're already using. You've seen groups, you've seen people, you've seen the profiles, the home tab. It looks to me like there's even some type of a Twitter integration with competitive tweets. Can you tell me about that, Parker?
There is, Mark. So we've embedded Twitter in here. So what's happening, similar to how you saw on the Service Cloud, there are things that are happening out in the communities, and you want to bring that into your corporation. With Chatter, you can also go and see what's happening in the communities outside of us, what's happening in Facebook, what's happening on Twitter, and you could bring that securely into Salesforce. So, you know, for example, here's something, and this is live off of Twitter, something about SharePoint. You know, Designer can't be used on a terminal server, really, or, you know, there's a couple of other things we've seen in the past and yesterday where people were having problems with SharePoint. We'd love to go help them with that and give them a better solution.
Absolutely, and these are live feeds coming right out of Twitter. We haven't modified those at all.
Yeah, so here's another one, Mark.
Session fail. Looking for optimizing tips on optimizing SQL Server for SharePoint. Got tips on how to search for tips on Google at SPCon 9. DM. Somebody needs to contact this person and let them know about Chatter.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very good. All right, well, thank you very much, Parker. That's a great orientation to Chatter. Thanks. Please welcome and thank Parker. Great job. So now what I'd like to do with you is I'd like to go into a little bit more detail on the aspect of this capability and what this means for you, our customers. You know that we have the Sales Cloud, the Service Cloud, and the Custom Cloud, and now you've seen the beginnings, and obviously this is a little bit different from how we've operated before, because you see these profiles and feeds and integration with outside services happening inside our standard applications. We call this the Collaboration Cloud. And the beginning of the Collaboration Cloud is now called Chatter. And it's our intention to fully enter the collaboration market to be able to offer you, our customers, a full range of collaboration solutions. Now, not only are we modifying our application set, but we have also modified our force.com platform so that you can build collaboration applications. And that means that the collaboration applications that you're building are going to be able to be fully integrated in with all of our core services. And this itself is a full extension of our core architecture. So you can see how we're starting to lay in all of the critical things necessary for you to not only use this as an app, but also to build your own apps as well. Chatter, the collaboration cloud, includes profiles like you saw, status updates, feeds, groups, social apps, that is your apps now talking to you because your apps have feeds, your custom apps have feeds, social content because your content also now have feeds, the security and sharing model that you're using, integration with Facebook and Twitter, and of course the app exchange, and there's a seminal point there that I'm about to get to in a moment. Profiles, you can know as much about your coworkers as your friends on Facebook. Everyone here in the audience, all of our customers, all of our users, all of our employees, everyone will have a profile with all of that information, with the ability for people to follow you and the people to work with you more closely. And you can have status updates associated with all of those profiles. So you basically have the ability to not only have profiles, but then the ability to start talking to others. We think that's a critical part of social networking. And not only are you now talking to each other through social status updates, but you can have these feeds. And that the feeds start to connect the content, apps, and people. And as you saw, these feeds include, what are the people talking about? What are your applications talking about? When something changes in the opportunity object, it shows up in the feed. When something changes in the content object, it shows up in the feed. When something changes in a custom object, it shows up in the feed, so that your objects can talk to you, so your applications can talk to you. You can program it so that something changes in Oracle, something changes in SAP, something changes in an outside system, it can talk to you in the feed. And you can assemble all these people into groups, and that groups can then work together on common projects, on accounts, on teams. They can do things like competitive analysis. And, as you saw, is a huge breakthrough in a fundamental basis is this whole idea that these apps are starting to talk to you. So not only do you have groups, social apps, your apps are talking to you, you start to see the total concept of enterprise collaboration at a different level. And the idea keeps coming back to one simple thought. Your people, your apps, your content, all integrated, all talking to you in the model you're already using. And there's no better example of that than security and sharing. As soon as we show these demonstrations, the first thing everyone asks for is, this is the easiest collaboration system we've ever seen, but what about security? What about sharing models? And no one has done more in developing deep security and deep sharing models than salesforce.com, security down to the field level, to the record level, with the audit trails, with the ISO compliance, with the SSL, with every aspect you need to make this totally secure. In fact, the same security and sharing models you're already using will automatically apply to this new capability. And, as you saw, you can instantly grab pieces of the consumer social networks like Twitter and Facebook and drop them into these applications easily. So you can bring in conversations as you need them on competitive analysis, or on opportunities, or on accounts, or on the people that are relevant to you. And here's a big change. And this will be subtle. So let's say you've built a native app. How many people here have built native applications? Okay. How many people here have built a custom application? How many people here have built a custom object? All of those things are social. All of those things now have feeds. So, for example, Randy is here from Glovia. So, Randy, stand up. Randy's built this great order entry management system. You're going to see it on the trade show floor. He's the CEO of Glovia. Randy, your application is now social. You haven't done any work, but now you have the ability to turn it on so that when you do order management, and an order gets shipped, or an order gets entered, or an order gets processed, automatically that information. gets sent to the master feed or to the feeds of the users where it's most relevant. Sitting next to you is Jeremy Roche. Jeremy has a great new company called salesforce.coms, which is ERP, the financials, the payables, the receivables, the general ledger associated with running a business, all the financials you're going to need. You see it on the trade show floor. Now, with Jeremy's app, when something happens, like an invoice gets paid or something gets processed posted onto the general ledger, it automatically participates as part of the feed. And sitting next to him is Bill Appleton with Dream Factory. And that's a great project management system that runs on the App Exchange. So when a project gets completed, or when a date gets missed, or when some key element of the system happens, it's all participating in the feed. It's a very big new idea. And you're also going to see how with mobile chatter, you can take it all on the road. Now here's the big surprise. Sales Cloud 2 is built on Chatter. It's already built on Chatter. When you get Sales Cloud 2, you'll see that Chatter is deeply integrated and is part of this system. And Service Cloud 2 has been rebuilt natively on Chatter as well. So not only are all of these custom applications now running on Chatter, but our core applications are deeply integrated with Chatter, and we've repositioned customer relationship management to collaboration relationship management. That your collaboration and your relationship management with your sales and service and your custom applications are all joining the conversation. So now let's just take a brief look again at the product. Parker, come back out. And we want to show you just one more level of this, and then we're going to tell you when you're going to get it. All right, Parker, welcome. Please welcome Parker Harris.
You can't get rid of me, Mark.
So, Parker, let's take a look at an actual example of something that, maybe we'd want to be doing. So, Parker, here we are. We're at Dreamforce. Maybe we should. We've taken a look at the home page. We've expanded Chatter. We see Frank Van Vievendahl has actually just said something 7 minutes ago on Chatter. He said, "I'm working on this Allied Technologies opportunity in a competitive deal against SharePoint." Exactly. And he's also tied in his competitive group called Friends Don't Let Friends Use SharePoint.
So, Mark, I think you really need to respond to Frank because
I think we better let Frank know about Chatter.
He keeps making excuses.
I agree.
We keep giving him stuff to sell.
That's right.
All right. So, come on, Frank. We just gave you Chatter. Close the deal, I mean,
right.
Isn't that why I'm trying to impersonate
Parker,
you?
you should be in sales management, not development.
Because, I've seen it. It's happened. Frank, you're in the front row there. You know what it feels like.
So come on, Frank. We just gave you Chatter. Close the deal. All right. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to see that post.
Okay.
But maybe there's more that we can do to help him.
Yeah. So let's go into the deal and look a little bit more at the deal and see what's going on.
Let's go take a look at the deal.
Okay. So I've gone into the opportunity or the deal, and I'm going to go look at the Chatter feed on that opportunity. And there's the comment that we just made, just close the deal, Frank, But we're here on stage, and, right after this, Frank could go and take everything that we just presented to go close that deal. So how would he do that? Well, do you mind giving him your slides?
I think you should just go ahead and say, we just demonstrated all these great things, but we better send them the slides so that they can start presenting this to them.
Right. So I'm going to upload those slides into our content management system, but they're going in through Chatter because it's within this real-time interaction that we're having with Frank. We're saying, Frank, close the deal, but let's give him a little something to help him out. Okay? So there's the...
So now right here on the opportunity feed, I can see not only the information what the rep and the manager and the competitive team has been saying about the deal, but now I've actually included my content as well.
That's right. And so I could go and...
Now you got to compare this to email. Right, I mean, email might be that at this point I probably would have just emailed my slides to Frank and said, hey, Frank, you better go present these slides to Allied or to the SE. But then there's no institutional memory, there's no collaboration, there's no network effect.
And when you email those slides, what happens when, I know this happens a lot, you update that slide 2 minutes later. How does he get the update? Are you going to email him again? Then he gets confused. Which version should I use? That's why we have our content management system. And you can view that directly online. You saw with Craig and George some of the great functionality we've given you to share that content with your customers. Here it is right here. Frank could then go take that, share it online directly with the customer.
So we have the deeply integrated social content. We've got our application, which is now talking to everybody here. So, you know, we should, it looks like we've got, all of a sudden we've got more information that we can start to deal with.
Yeah. So let's go into that competitive group you mentioned earlier, Mark, that about friends don't let friends use SharePoint. I know we're picking a lot on SharePoint, but, you know, we just think we have a better mousetrap here, a better solution that will make people more effective and will also be highly trusted.
Well, that's great, and it looks like this group automatically inherited the content from the post on the account.
Exactly. So I didn't have to go into this group and share the content because this opportunity is participating. This group is following that opportunity. It's following Frank. It's a competitive group around SharePoint, and the users did not have to do anything to configure that to make that happen. The content is available, and it's one version of the content, as you said earlier, not an email that was sent multiple copies.
Well, I think the real power is in the future competitions against that competitor, or in opportunities like this, I'm going to have that institutional memory where I can see that specifically.
Mm-hmm. You know, and as we get older, we need that institutional memory. Right, Mark?
Right. And you have your competitive tweets coming through on SharePoint as well?
So we have, again, that feed's happening, so it's coming live from Twitter. And, you know, Mark, let's say, did you have something to say? If it wasn't SharePoint, and, you know, maybe there's other competitive groups, maybe I'm the rep and I think, or Frank's saying, it is SharePoint, but, you know, there's a couple other things happening in that deal, what would you do?
So, Parker, your content is talking to you, your apps are talking to you, your people are talking to you.
That's right. Now,
and it's all integrated inside the existing framework.
On our trusted platform.
On the trusted platform with all the security that you already expect.
That's the hard stuff, Mark, just so you know. I mean, it's hard to make it look good. I know you and I spent a lot of time trying to make this look really good. But what these people care about is that underneath the covers, it's trusted and it's scalable. That's not easy. You know, I think my team deserves a lot of thanks for all that they've done to create this on the platform.
Parker, congratulations to you and to all your developers in the audience. Great job. Really well done.
All right.
Parker, great job. Chatter, great new addition to salesforce.com and the whole framework, and force.com. We're going to be back tomorrow taking a look at the Chatter platform and what that means as well for building social apps.
Absolutely, and you know, it's been a great first decade of the company, and I really think this is the beginning of the next. It's really unbelievable.
Outstanding.
So, thank
Parker,
you, Mark.
Great job. Congratulations. So now we just want to let you know a little bit about the pricing for Chatter. Chatter is scheduled to be available in early 2010, and Chatter will be available in all editions. So all existing users of Group Edition, Enterprise Edition, Professional Edition, Unlimited Edition, and Force.com, you'll automatically get all the features and functionality you just saw. And, thank you. And we will also offer a special Chatter edition, because if you have employees in your company who are not yet Salesforce users who you want to bring into the Chatter network, we will provide a special package product which includes Chatter, content, and Force.com for $50 per subscriber per month for all employees. And on top of that, we are empowering our Salesforce to really write agreements that reference this as our first enterprise-wide application. so that they can have the enterprise license agreements and the necessity so that they can write deals, so they can include all of this inside your company. Now, we have today in the audience with us one of the very founders of this entire initiative, the person who not only developed and wrote Twitter, is on the board of directors, and is perhaps, the true visionary behind the technology. Would you please welcome to the stage our good friend and founder of Twitter, Jason Goldman. Jason, come on up here.